Monday, and thanks for coming back for another episode of Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. On today's episode, we're going to do a full reptile room tour. Aren't we, Millie? Well, since we're doing a full tour, why don't we start with Millie here. So this is the best egg-producing leopard gecko that I have. She's about 2 years old. She's a bell albino, and she's put out some beautiful babies. And she lives in this tub right here. Move on to our next leopard gecko here. I've got two sisters, actually, that live together. All my geckos live exactly the same in their tub system. Very simple setup, which I'll show you right now. They all have the same. They have a hide. That's basically a sandwich container with a hole cut into it, and that way when you spray the substrate in there, which is also an egg-laying medium, fantastic thing about that is it produces a condensation or a dew, water droplets on the top, which is what they drink from. And I think I've said this before, I don't usually keep my leopard geckos with standing water. I know that most people like to do that, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. This girl wants to get away. This was the first clutch that I ever produced, and I haven't been doing this for very long, so I'm not going to get rid of these ones. I kept 3 of them. I gave one to my sister. She's got one of the siblings. This one here is Sarah, and the other one is Littlefoot. So named them after dinosaurs because that's exactly what they look like. And these guys live in an exoterra, a medium short exoterra, or whatever you want to call it. Well, you can see it right here. You can be the judge of it. They have a hide on the one side. They have a living cactus in there as well, which doesn't seem to bother them whatsoever. They kind of lick it sometimes, I noticed. And their substrate is a mixture of eco-earth and sand. And the reason that I did that is so that it kind of holds a little bit of humidity and it stays moist on the bottom and dry on the top, so that you could have living plants inside there. It only has a cactus right now, but I would love to make it even more of a bioactive type enclosure. We do have a bioactive enclosure upstairs, which I'll bring you to. This girl is getting fat. You are beautiful, though. I'm not fat shaming. And here you can see Sarah's sibling, Littlefoot. She's absolutely beautiful as well. They're almost exactly the same size. They never bully each other. They have their own hides. No problems with cohabitation whatsoever. I'm not going to stop cohabitating them because it seems like it's working out great, and I love to watch both of them kind of interact with each other. And even when they eat out of the bowl together, they don't fight over food even. So no problems. They're going to stay in the same enclosure. This one here is a baby, sort of, I guess, 9 months old. She was a little bit slow to start eating. I think it's a male, to be honest. He doesn't have a name. You guys can put a comment down below and I'll be happy to name him. But he's a triple het. He's, well, maybe triple het. He's definitely het for anery or axanthic, whatever you want to call it. Definitely het for toffee belly, and maybe he's het for albino. So that'd be cool if he came out both, well, all 3 of those genes in one snake. That'd be fantastic, but we're not going to find out for another year and a bit because he's not big enough to breed yet. So here's how I keep the snakes. I usually have a turnover flower pot inside them, but they are getting cleaned right now, so there is no hide in their enclosure. They have a water bowl. Each water bowl might be different, whatever I have to use. As long as it's clean, it doesn't really matter. And here is, what do I call him? HN5, hognose snake number 8. This snake here is also a western hognose snake. This is probably the most beautiful snake that I own right now. She is 100% het for albino, but she is an anaconda morph. And basically the anaconda morph and hognose snakes just means they're patternless. They don't really have, well, not patternless, but they have a different pattern than a regular hognose snake. It's kind of looks like an anaconda, which is why they call them that. And if you breed an anaconda and an anaconda together, then you get a completely patternless snake except for the head, and that's called a superconda. So that'd be pretty cool to produce, but she's the only conda I have right now, so she will be bred to het albino male down the line, which we showed you before, Arbok. Next we've got Cheech. This is the first leopard gecko that I got. Is the oldest leopard gecko, the oldest reptile that I have. I actually got him a week before I got my dog, which is now considered a senior dog. So here's Cheech, and here's the setup, same as Millie, same as all the other geckos. He's got a hide, same sandwich container that you can mist down, and that's where they drink from. And then he's got a food bowl, which looks like it's empty right now. He's a big man. I don't know exactly how much he weighs, but he is definitely the biggest leopard gecko that I own. The next leopard gecko that we got, her name is Honey, and Honey is a bell albino. I guess I should mention that Millie is not a bell albino. She is a Mac Snow Trimper Stripe. I got the two confused. But anyway, this is Honey. She's produced some eggs as well. She's a beautiful lady. I'm hoping to get some more babies out of her this year. She seems like she might be gravid, actually. Normally, she's cool to pick up. She was running away from me, jumping out of the container. So I think that in that last year, that's not typical for leopard geckos when they're gravid, but that's how she's been the last 2 years. I think she might be gravid. She's been pairing with Cheech, so I would imagine that she might be. Same setup as before, container with the substrate inside, which is an egg-laying medium as well, and the food dish, which she has absolutely decimated as well. Next up, we've got MC Flurry. It's not McFlurry, it's MC Flurry, and if you watch the show The Trailer Park Boys, which is big here in Canada, you will know that MC Flurry is a semi-famous rapper from Sunnyvale Trailer Park. Fantastic rhymes out of this one. She does do that clicking, screaming thing that some leopard geckos do. Now this girl here, she's kind of an anomaly. She is eating and eating and eating, but her tail is not getting any bigger. And I've done a bunch of research on this. I can't figure out why her tail isn't getting any bigger, but she seems full in the abdomen. She's not losing any weight. She's actually gained a few grams. I don't know what's going on, so I'm not going to breed her this year because her tail still isn't where I want it to be. Her tail almost looks crooked also. I'm not sure what's going on with her, but she seems to be happy and healthy, so we're just going to leave her be, and she can skip out on a boyfriend again for the second year. Let's move on to something different than leopard geckos, shall we? We've got Bob. Bob is a Jeweled Lacerta. He is a very happy and healthy man, Lacerta. Well, maybe not the healthiest. He's got metabolic bone disease, you might notice. That just means that in his past life, his owners probably didn't have the proper lighting on him, or maybe didn't have the proper supplementation. But I did buy him from somebody who was the second home, she said. I know that people say that Jeweled Lacertas act a little bit like Tegus. I would have to agree with this. He is... I've never seen a lizard so happy to like greet you at the glass. The only problem is he's got very strong jaws, and if you try to go in there to fill his water bowl or even use tongs, he will bite your tongs. He is food happy. He loves food, and he's got that little kink in the base of his tail, and his tail and is a little bit kinked at the end, and he's got little T-Rex arms. But I love him, and he actually lives outside during the summer months. So we're going to show you his enclosure during the summer months, but being that I live in the Arctic and it is minus 20 this week, we'll keep that for another video. So this is Bob, the Jeweled Lacerta. What a fantastic, probably my favorite lizard to observe that I have in my collection. Next, let's talk about some ball pythons. The one that we have here, this one is an albino male. His name is Pikachu, and Pikachu and his girlfriend Medusa over here, they are together temporarily because I'm trying to breed them and make some baby albino ball pythons. But Adam, she doesn't look like an albino ball python. No, she's not. She's het for albino, which means she carries the genes. So like your dad has blue eyes and your mom doesn't, but you come out with blue eyes. That's because your mom is het for blue eyes. The same thing with albinos. That's a recessive gene. They both can make albino babies, and they have in the past, from what I've been told from the people that I bought them from. Apparently they had 5 eggs 2 years ago, and 2 of them came out albino. So these are my ball pythons. Medusa over here, I think she's about 3, and Pikachu, and he's also, no, sorry, they're 5. They're both 5. There were 3 when I got them 2 years ago. They are 5. Pikachu and Medusa, my pythons. That actually concludes the entire reptile room, but there's more. So let's go upstairs and let's show you 2 of perhaps the most popular pet setups that I have for my reptile and amphibian. So let's go take a look. These are the crested geckos from the crested gecko video from 2 weeks ago. This enclosure is bioactive, which means that the poop goes away by itself. It's the best way to describe it. So the soil, or the substrate I should say, is a eco-earth type substrate. It's a coconut core, and it's over top of clay pebbles. So it has a drainage layer, and inside we've got a money tree in the middle. We've got a snake plant or a sansevieria on the side here, and we've got a calathea at the back, pronounced calathea, not calathea. And on the other side there we've got a pothos in the back side, and it has the fake background made of styrofoam. So here's the one, and here is the other. These are Yoshi and Charizard. The light on this enclosure is purely for video purposes. I normally do not have it on. Geckos of this nature do not need a light source or a heat source unless you live in the Arctic, which I do, but we don't live outside, so that's good. Also, we've got a misting system here, which is why, not a misting, a fogging system here, which is why it appears foggy inside. And last but not least, it's not even a reptile, but it's going to be part of the reptile room tour. These are the axolotls. Last week's video was all about axolotls. These are quickly becoming one of my favorite pets to have. They're little hams, they're little movie stars. They like to swim right to the glass. They like greet you as soon as you walk in, it seems like. They are unbelievably dumb, it seems. They run into each other and also the glass, but they're very fun to watch, and they're very fun to watch eat as well. And right now, at the size they're at, they're pretty darn cute. Now, speaking of cute things, a long overdue welcome to the security guard, head of security at Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. This is Flutie. He is a domesticated house fox. Very vicious, very scary. You have to be very careful. This is the head of security, Flutie. So thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. Goodbye, Flutie. Next week, we'll talk about something else. If there's something that you want to talk about on the channel, something else you want to learn about, put it in the comment section below. We're all here to learn about reptiles together. So until next week, thanks for tuning in. Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles.